women are different, but they are all women. This video is androcentric from a men's point of view and is presented as opinion, commentary, and debate. Expressing opinions is not violence. These are ideas to challenge, question, and argue in public, because classical liberalism relies on the First Amendment for its dialectic. If you are a feminist, then consider this. If patriarchy truly existed as claimed, feminism could not. And if all men are trash and women are equal to men, then what are we to conclude? Women will die for their children, men will die for their wives and children, and God chose to die for all mankind. Authority rolls up with responsibility. If this framing of facts offends you, click off to a cute cat video. Proceeding further will expose you to gamma bias and criticism directed at ideas, claims, institutions, not at any individual's virtue or dignity. Our method follows the 7 liberal arts, the trivium, grammar, logic, rhetoric, and the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. If this framework is not for you, feel free to exit now. It's no disgrace. Women are wonderful. God bless America. Men are great. Feminist Collective. Longhouse Assimilation of Old Cultures. Written by Conrad Riker. Available now. Links in description. Women test men like lab rats. The hidden social experiments that trap you in gynocentric hell, and how Schopenhauer's truth bombs set you free. I was at a gas station in Ohio, 2:17 a.m., buying a Gatorade and a pack of gum when a woman in yoga pants walked up, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Can you lift this?" She pointed at a car seat in her back seat. Not the trunk, the back seat. A 7-year-old could have lifted it, but she wasn't asking for help. She was running diagnostics. And I knew it, so I didn't jump, didn't flex, just said, "You could have lifted that yourself." But sure, I lifted it, calmly, without ego, without irritation. And her face changed, not gratitude, disappointment, because I passed the test and didn't worship at the altar of her helplessness. That moment wasn't about a car seat. It was about the entire gynocentric operating system running in stealth mode across Western civilization, hijacking relationships, corrupting institutions, and gaslighting men into emotional slavery while pretending to want equality. Let me be blunt. Women are not oppressed. They are armed with projection, social manipulation, and a lifetime of unconditional sympathy. They deploy tests, subtle, insidious, evolutionary, designed not to find love, but to find utility. Can he lift? Can he read my mind? Can I make him condescend? These aren't quirks. They're behavioral algorithms, fine-tuned by 100,000 years of mate selection, now turbocharged by feminist ideology that frames every manipulation as emotional intelligence. Meanwhile, men are dropping like flies. Suicide rates 3.5x higher. 93% of homeless are male. 80% of workplace deaths. And in family court, fathers lose 80% of custody cases even when both parents are fit. But try saying that online. You'll be arrested for a tweet in Canada, fired in the US, or lectured by a HR clown who thinks intersectionality is a math problem. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed to neuter men, silence truth, and replace merit with victimhood. Joy Borlamwini claims AI is racist because facial recognition fails on dark skin. But MIT proved it fails on low lighting, a technical issue, not a moral one. When Amazon's hiring AI favored men, feminists called it sexist. Ignoring that men apply 3x more for tech jobs, the AI reflected reality. So they killed it. This is the pattern. When data contradicts dogma, burn the lab. Crime algorithms flag high crime areas, mostly black neighborhoods. Leftists scream racist, but crime stats are real. The real racism is pretending poverty and fatherlessness don't matter while blaming algorithms. And let's talk about women. CDC data shows they initiate 70% of breakups, yet dominate the victim narrative. They abort 93% of mixed-race fetuses, but cry racism when men don't want to date them. They demand chivalry, free drinks, safety, sympathy, then call men oppressors for expecting anything in return. This isn't equality. It's asymmetric warfare, and men are the collateral. We are not living in a patriarchy. We are living in a gynocracy, A civilization run by female preferences, female victimhood, and female emotional blackmail, all dressed up as progress. The red pill isn't about hating women, it's about seeing. Seeing the tests, seeing the projections, seeing the lies, and then using logic, the trivium, to dismantle them. Grammar, define abuse correctly. Logic, reject the fallacy that correlation equals oppression. Rhetoric, speak so clearly that the noise can't drown you. Every fallen empire, Rome, Byzantium, Weimar, saw the same pattern. Men feminized, truth silenced, emotion weaponized. We're there, but we can reverse it. Not with rage, with reason, with courage, with the unapologetic reclamation of the transcendentals. Good, true, beautiful, not as feelings, but as objective anchors. This essay will expose the hidden curriculum of female social testing, the fraud of algorithmic racism, the psychological projection cycle, and how to rebuild a manhood that doesn't beg for approval, it earns respect. If you're tired of being tested, blamed, and erased, this is your awakening. The spell is breakable, the red pill is real, and it tastes like freedom, the mirror of deceit, women's hidden social testing regime. You don't need a PhD in psychology to notice that women don't date men. They audition them. That's what my buddy Dave told me after getting ghosted for the 7th time in a year. Each time by women who never actually needed help with their flat tire. He'd show up, shirt tucked, back straight, lift the spare like it was nothing, and then poof, radio silence. Not because he failed the task, but because he passed it too easily. The test wasn't about the tire. It was about watching whether he'd bristle, whether he'd sigh, whether he'd say, "You really should learn how to do this yourself." That's the trap. The "can you lift this" test isn't about strength, it's about submission. It's a behavioral landmine disguised as a favor. Women use it constantly on dates at parties, on apps, asking men to carry bags, open jars, move furniture, all while watching, measuring not your biceps but your reaction. Do you help with pride, with annoyance, with silent resentment? Because in the gynocentric courtroom of modern dating, resentment is a capital crime and the verdict is always guilty. I once watched a woman at a bar place her phone on the floor, then glance around like she hadn't noticed. Within minutes, 3 men happened to walk by, accidentally kick it, and then, boom, the performance began. One picked it up, handed it over with a flourish and a line about saving the damsel, discarded. Another ignored it completely, proving too indifferent, discarded. The third picked it up, said nothing, placed it on the table, and walked away. She followed him, not because he was kind, but because he didn't perform kindness. He didn't seek reward. He didn't play the game. And that's the dirty secret. Women don't want helpers. They want kings. They want men who act from strength of being, not from need for approval. Yet feminism has spent 50 years rebranding this instinctual selection process as emotional labor and demanding men apologize for not doing enough of it, while laughing behind closed doors at the fools who try. Consider the speed dating study by Finkel et al. At UCLA, where women made mate decisions in under 3 seconds. 3 seconds less time than it takes to pour a shot of whiskey. And it wasn't about what the man said, it was about how he held himself. Did he stand like a soldier or a supplicant? Did his eyes scan the room like a general or dart like a shoplifter? Women aren't listening to your witty banter. They're running silent diagnostics. Can he protect? Can he lead? Will he crack under stress? And the cruelest irony? The more you try to win her, the more you prove you've already lost. Because neediness is a death rattle in the dating arena. David Buss, in his cross-cultural mate preference studies, proved that women universally rank status, confidence, and composure above kindness, humor, even intelligence. Why? Because evolution doesn't care about your Spotify playlist. It cares whether your genes survive the next famine. Then there's the "I don't know what to drink" test, the ultimate social stress test. I've seen it play out in dive bars and rooftop lounges alike. Woman sits, stares at the menu, sighs, and says, "I can't decide." Watch the men scramble. One says, "Oh, you'll love the espresso martini," discarded. Another says, "Just get whatever. It's not that deep," discarded. The one who says, "You pick. I'll have whatever you're having," with a calm smile. He's in, not because he's agreeable, but because he's unshakable. He doesn't need to dominate the choice. He doesn't need to fix her. He's so secure in his masculinity that he can let her flail and still remain centered. This isn't empathy, this isn't connection, this is power. And women are hardwired to detect it. Schopenhauer nailed it. Women are directly adapted to act as the go-betweens of nature. They don't seek truth, they seek fitness. And they'll use any trick, feigned ignorance, manufactured confusion, emotional chaos to test you. The pretend stupidity test is even more insidious. I knew a woman who, during a date, asked, "Weight is les mis," based on a book. The man, eager to impress, launched into a 10-minute lecture on Victor Hugo. Ghosted. Why? Because he fell for the trap. She didn't want knowledge. She wanted to see if he'd condescend. And he did. Instantly, the man who had simply said, "Yeah, great book," and changed the subject, still on her radar. This is the feminist sleight of hand. They call it emotional intelligence when they play these games. But if a man dares to be direct, he's toxic. They demand you read their mind, then punish you for guessing wrong. They create ambiguity, then crucify you for failing to navigate it. It's not love, it's a combat trial. And let's talk numbers, because facts are bullets. The rate of false domestic violence accusations in family court, studies show up to 35% of claims, are demonstrably false. Yet men lose custody 90% of the time. Male suicide, 4 times higher than women and rising. Male incarceration for nonviolent speech, skyrocketing while women flood the courts with restraining orders over disliked texts. Abortion, over 60 million since Roe v. Wade, mostly by women against men who wanted the child. And don't get me started on DNA tests. 30% of men discover they've been raising another man's child. Yet we're told to listen to women, to validate their feelings, to do the emotional labor. Emotional labor? Try emotional warfare. This isn't partnership. It's asymmetric warfare dressed in the flag of equality. These tests, can you lift this? I don't know what to drink, pretend I'm stupid. Read my mind are not random. They are the curriculum of female mate selection, refined over millennia, and feminism didn't abolish them, it weaponized them. It gave women the language to pathologize male strength while excusing female manipulation. It turned the red pill into a crime. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. You don't have to play, you don't have to take the test, you don't have to prove yourself to a woman who won't even admit the exam exists. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you reclaim your sovereignty. Stand tall, speak plain, refuse the game, and watch how quickly the illusions vanish. I've watched as engineers, terrified of being labeled bigots, dismantle tools that work because the data they produce offends feminist and leftist sensibilities. I've seen hiring algorithms scrapped, not because they were broken, but because they reflected the world as it is. Men dominate tech, not from privilege, but from interest, effort, and aptitude. And every time, the narrative is flipped. Blame the code, not the culture. But I refuse to play along. I've spent years dissecting these lies, not from a lab or a university, but from the streets, the bars, the gym, and the dating apps. Places where reality can't be faked. And what I've learned is this: when ideology collides with truth, the left doesn't adapt. They attack, they don't fix crime, they defund the police. They don't fix broken families, they blame capitalism. And now they're coming for algorithms, because cold, hard data won't lie to soothe their delusions. Algorithmic illusions, the weaponization of bias in tech and culture. When a police algorithm flags a neighborhood with high crime rates and activists scream racism, they're not defending black communities, they're defending crime. Let's be clear, crime data isn't racist. Reality doesn't care about your feelings. The algorithm sees what exists: more robberies, more shootings, more violent crime. Because in too many inner city neighborhoods, fathers are absent, welfare has replaced work. And churches have been replaced by government dependency. I once spoke to a former gang member in Chicago who said, "We don't need more social workers, we need more dads." He wasn't joking. He was testifying to a truth so obvious it's been erased from public discourse. Fatherlessness is the single greatest predictor of crime, poverty, and social collapse. But rather than fix the root cause, male absence, female hypergamy, and state-enabled dysfunction, the left attacks the algorithm. Why? Because truth is their enemy. Amazon built an AI hiring tool that downgraded resumes with the word women's like women's chess club captain, and feminists went ballistic, claiming it was sexist, so Amazon scrapped it. But here's the part they don't want you to know. The AI wasn't biased, it was accurate. Men apply for tech jobs more often. Men dominate tech experience. The AI simply reflected reality, like a mirror reflecting a drunk man's face. But instead of fixing the gap, encouraging more women to code, build, compete, they broke the mirror. It's like blaming a scale for telling you you're overweight. The scale isn't the problem. Your diet is. The AI wasn't sexist, it was logical. And logic is the one thing feminism can't tolerate. I watched Joy Buolamwini, the so-called AI whistleblower, testify before Congress, claiming facial recognition fails on dark skin. But her own MIT study used poorly lit, low-resolution images of black women, of herself, and then claimed the tech was racist. That's not science. That's theater. It's like filming your friend in a dark basement with a broken phone and then blaming the camera for not working. Stanford and MIT later confirmed that when image quality and lighting are equal, facial recognition accuracy across races is nearly identical. But the media didn't report that. The New York Times, NPR, BBC, they ran the narrative like gospel. Why? Because outrage sells. And the story of racist AI fits the broader leftist myth that Western systems are inherently oppressive, that objectivity is a white male conspiracy, and that only state intervention can save us from reality. This is what I call bias inflation, the rhetorical trick of turning statistical noise into moral catastrophe. A 2% difference in error rate, that's not racism, that's engineering. But in the woke mind, any variance from perfect equality is proof of systemic evil. It's the same logic used in family courts where men lose custody 80% of the time, even when both parents are fit, yet no one calls it misandry. But let an algorithm favor men in hiring based on data, and suddenly it's a crisis. The double standard is staggering. The real bias isn't in the code, it's in the minds of those who demand that reality conform to their ideology. I'll give you a real-world example. In 2020, a man in Detroit was wrongfully arrested because facial recognition misidentified him. Horrible? Yes. But here's the ignored fact. The arrest happened because police ignored the AI's low confidence score and arrested him anyway. The system said maybe, but the human driven by bias, haste, and institutional failure said guilty. So why blame the algorithm? Why not blame the cop? Why not blame the broken justice system? Because it's easier to scapegoat technology than to admit that humans, especially state actors, are flawed. But the left loves this. It lets them attack merit, logic, and objectivity, all traits associated with masculine rationality, while elevating emotion, identity, and subjectivity, the hallmarks of feminist governance. Truth is not oppressive. Data is not violent, but the campaign against Bayist algorithms is a full-spectrum assault on reason itself. It's part of a larger strategy. When reality contradicts ideology, destroy the evidence. From crime stats to fertility rates to the fact that women initiate 70% of divorces, the pattern is clear. They don't want debate. They want deletion. They don't want discussion. They want dogma. And the ultimate goal: to replace systems that reward competence with ones that reward compliance, to turn tech from a tool of truth into a weapon of social engineering. I once met a software engineer in Silicon Valley who told me, "We don't build AI to be accurate anymore. We build it to pass the diversity audit." That's not progress, that's surrender. That's the moment when truth dies and ideology reigns, and who pays the price? Men, engineers, innovators. Anyone who values logic over lip service. The system isn't broken. It's being broken on purpose by people who hate the idea that some groups outperform others based on behavior, not biology, not bigotry, but choices. So let me be blunt. If you're a man who values truth, you must resist this rot. Not with rage, but with reason. Not with slogans, but with data. The algorithm isn't the problem, the feminist war on reality is. And every time you accept a lie in the name of inclusion, you betray the very civilization that gave you speech, science, and freedom. Wake up. The machine isn't biased, the culture is. I used to believe the lie that men were emotionally broken, afraid of intimacy, too traumatized by their dads to show up. I bought it. Sat through seminars, read the pop psychology trash, listened to women on podcasts weep about their lonely hearts. Then I saw the data. Then I saw the lawsuits. Then I saw good men, builders, providers, loyal partners, gutted in divorce court, stripped of their kids, their savings, their dignity, all because they trusted a woman who weaponized vulnerability like a dagger. That's when I realized this isn't about love, it's about power. And men aren't the problem. We're the prey. The feminine psyche unmasked. Projection, trauma, and the burden men bear. 70% of breakups are initiated by women. That's not a rumor from some basement red pillar. It's the CDC. And yet, walk into any therapy session, scroll through Instagram, or listen to the latest pop ballad, and you'll hear women sobbing about how men won't commit, how men are emotionally stunted, how no one loves them anymore. It's a racket, a grift, a well-rehearsed performance where the arsonist shows up crying about the fire. Men aren't afraid of love. We're afraid of financial execution, character assassination, and being severed from our children, all for the crime of trying to live like decent human beings. The modern relationship isn't a partnership. It's a legal minefield rigged by feminist legislation, weaponized divorce courts, and a culture that treats men like disposable sperm donors with a tax bill. I once knew a guy, let's call him David, who dated a woman who demanded chivalry, open doors, pay for dinners, plan dates. He played the game. Then when he suggested she contribute to a shared vacation, she called him cheap and controlling. When he set a boundary about her texting exes late at night, she filed a harassment complaint with his HR department. This isn't an outlier. It's the template. Women want the benefits of traditional masculinity, protection, provision, stability, but the moment a man actually behaves like a man, he's labeled toxic, abusive, or emotionally unavailable. The Jungians call it the animus, the woman's internal masculine image, and most women haven't integrated it. They project it onto men, demanding strength, only to punish it when they get it. It's like ordering a lion for your garden, then suing the zoo when it roars. Consider the female projection cycle. Trigger, project, punish, repeat. She's uneasy about her own dependency. She'll claim you are the one who can't let go. She resents her absent father. She'll insist you're the distant one. She was unfaithful. You're toxic for wanting honesty. This isn't therapy, it's mental manipulation, and men bear the brunt. We take in the accusations, swallow the guilt, and question why we feel broken, alone, or numb. Meanwhile, she's online sharing empowerment slogans and joining healing circles where she learns her actions stem from male wrongdoing. The mental health field, shaped by female perspectives and ideological frameworks, treats male strength as a flaw. Calmness, buried pain. Limits, coldness, confidence. Threat. They don't aim to help men recover. They push men to submit, regret, and comply. Let's talk about cuckoldry. DNA tests reveal that in 15 to 30% of cases, the man raising the child is not the biological father. That's not oops. That's systemic deception. Yet men are shamed for requesting paternity tests, as if suspicion is the real crime. Meanwhile, women can abort on demand, keep the child and sue for support, or disappear entirely, all without consequence. Men, however, can't opt out. You're on the hook from day one. Family court doesn't care if she lied. They don't care if she alienated your kids. They'll hand her the house, the kids, and your paycheck, while you sleep in a studio apartment wondering where your life went. And if you protest, you're angry. If you resist, you're abusive. If you vanish, you're deadbeat. There's no winning, only survival. The trauma Olympics is another scam. Women treat emotional pain like a currency, competing for who suffered most, who was most victimized, who gets the most sympathy. Meanwhile, men die by suicide at nearly 4 times the rate of women. We're 97% of the homeless on war fronts, 99% of workplace fatalities, and the first called when danger hits. But try mentioning that. You'll be silenced as toxic, privileged, or whining. Our pain is invisible unless it serves her narrative. And don't get me started on the narcissism of small differences. Women demanding equality in the workplace, while expecting free drinks, chivalry, and special treatment in social settings. They want it all. The rights of men, the privileges of women, and the moral high ground when things go south. This isn't love, this is parasitism wrapped in emotional blackmail, and it's killing male desire to engage. Why build a life with someone who sees you as a resource to exploit, a mirror to shatter, and a scapegoat for her unresolved trauma? The remedy isn't more therapy, it's boundaries. Men must stop being emotional sponges. Stop rescuing, stop absorbing punishment for crimes they didn't commit. You are not her therapist, you are not her father, you are not her financial hostage. You are a man worthy of respect, not because you serve her, but because you exist. Reject the role of punching bag, withdraw from the game, let her project into the void. And when she asks why you pulled away, tell her, I stopped paying for a war I didn't start. I didn't become a truth seeker because I wanted attention or revenge. I became one because silence kills men. Watching my father vanish taught me that the system doesn't punish evil, it punishes compliance. The more you obey, the more you're exploited, the more you sacrifice, the more you're erased. I started reading, not self-help garbage, but the old books, Plato, Seneca, Aurelius, Solzhenitsyn. I studied logic, not to win arguments, but to survive them. I learned rhetoric not to manipulate, but to defend reality when liars tried to rewrite it. And I realized the entire feminist leftist machine runs on one thing, the destruction of meaning. They don't want equality. They want asymmetry. They don't want justice. They want supremacy masked as victimhood. And the only way to fight it is to rebuild truth, one word, one argument, one man at a time. The red pill renaissance, reclaiming the trivium and the transcendentals. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Nietzsche. I didn't grasp that line until I saw my father lose everything, his children, his home, his respect, because a woman gave false testimony in family court. He didn't shout, didn't resist, he just fell silent. Then one day he vanished. Not passed away, just removed. The judge ignored that he covered child support, ignored that he coached Little League, ignored that he never missed a school performance. All the court focused on was the story. Absent father, emotional abuser, toxic masculinity. Labels stripped of truth, now just tools to harm. That's when I woke up, not from a viral clip, not from an online rant, but from the chilling stillness of a man who followed every rule and was destroyed for it. Let's start with grammar, because language is the first battlefield. Equality does not mean sameness. It never did. Justice means giving each person what they deserve, not handing out trophies because someone feels bad. The left doesn't want equality. They want equity, which is just Marxism with better branding. Equity means dragging high performers down so everyone can feel warm and fuzzy. It's not justice, it's envy with a PowerPoint. And they get away with it because they've corrupted language. Abuse used to mean physical violence or deliberate cruelty. Now it means he disagreed with me, or he didn't validate my feelings. That's not abuse. That's childhood. If emotional discomfort is abuse, then Socrates was the biggest abuser in history. He made people think. The Socratic method is now labeled gaslighting by women on TikTok. That's not just dumb. It's deliberate sabotage of reason. Look at history. Every civilization that collapsed had one thing in common. Men stopped being men. Rome didn't fall because of barbarians. It fell because Roman men started wearing makeup, avoiding military service, and letting women run the household. Juvenal mocked them. The city which once conquered the world is now conquered by eunuchs. Sound familiar? Weimar Germany? Men obsessed with fashion, therapy, and pleasing women, while Hitler waited in the wings. Byzantium. Priests more concerned with liturgical aesthetics than defending the faith, while the Ottomans breached the walls. The pattern is clear when men trade truth for comfort. When they swap virtue for validation, the barbarians don't break the gates. They walk right through because the guards have already gone soft. And the tools of this softening leftist logic, or rather the absence of logic. They don't argue, they trigger, they don't debate, they label. Toxic masculinity, that's not an argument, it's a spell. It bypasses reason and goes straight for emotion. That's the appeal to emotion fallacy, and it's used 24/7 in schools, media, HR departments. You disagree? You're traumatizing. You set boundaries. Emotional neglect, you expect loyalty, patriarchal control. These aren't ideas, they're linguistic landmines designed to shut down male agency. And the worst part, most men step on them, willingly apologizing for existing. I've seen men cry because their girlfriend called them emotionally unavailable for not wanting to discuss her dream about a talking unicorn. That's not a relationship, that's hostage negotiation, but let's talk facts, real ones. Not the made-up stats from feminist think tanks funded by George Soros. Male suicide rate 4 times higher than women. Yet, when was the last time you saw a PSA about male mental health that didn't blame toxic masculinity? Never. Because the narrative must be preserved. Men are the oppressors, therefore their suffering is deserved. Cuckoldry rates, studies using DNA testing showed 10 to 30% of men are raising children that aren't theirs, in some countries higher. But try mentioning that online and you'll be banned for hate speech. Meanwhile, women can post "I love trapping men into fatherhood" memes and get likes. Family courts? 80 to 90% of custody goes to mothers, even when fathers are more stable. Police? They'll arrest a man for a sarcastic comment on Facebook, but won't intervene when a woman throws a TV out the window during a divorce. Abortion? Over 70 million in the US since Roe v. Wade, most of the victims male. But don't call it murder. That's extremism. Call it reproductive freedom even when it's used as birth control by women who refuse to use condoms. I'm not angry, I'm awake. The red pill isn't about hating women. It's about loving truth. And truth is this: men are not the problem. We've been framed. The real enemy isn't women. It's the ideology that turns them into entitled dependents and us into guilt-ridden serfs. The same ideology that says a man shouldn't protect his children because the mother knows best, even when she's addicted to opioids. The same ideology that calls a soldier toxic, but calls a rioter a passionate advocate. This isn't progress, it's inversion. Good is evil, strong is bad, truth is hate. And it's working because men have stopped thinking. They've outsourced their minds to Netflix therapists and Instagram philosophers who sell healing but deliver infantilization. So what's the remedy? The trivium grammar, define your terms. Logic, expose the fallacies. Rhetoric speaks so clearly that lies cannot survive in your presence. Study Aristotle, read Aquinas, learn formal logic, then go back into the world and use it. When a woman says, "Men are trash," ask, define trash. Quantify it, provide evidence, watch her collapse. When a professor says patriarchy harms everyone, ask, what is the control group? How do you falsify your claim? Silence because they can't. Their entire worldview is built on emotional appeals and social pressure, not reason. I once watched Jordan Peterson dismantle a room full of postmodernists, not by shouting, but by asking questions. What do you mean by justice? Can you define it without contradiction? They couldn't. And that's the power of the trivium. It doesn't win debates, it ends them because truth isn't democratic. It doesn't care how many people believe in flat earth. The transcendentals, good, true, beautiful, are not opinions. They're real, like gravity. A man who aligns himself with them cannot be broken by propaganda. He may be ignored, mocked, cancelled, but he will not bend. The future isn't for the loud. It's for the clear, for men who stop whining and start thinking, who rebuild their minds brick by brick using the tools of the West, reason, virtue, courage, who raise sons to be stoic, not sensitive, who speak truth even when it costs them. The red pill renaissance isn't about revenge. It's about rebirth. And it starts with one man alone choosing truth over comfort. Choose it. Now, I didn't write this to make you feel bad. I wrote it because I've seen men kneel on one knee asking for her hand only to be handed divorce papers, on both knees in therapy, begging to be told they're not monsters for wanting respect, on broken knees in family court, watching judges award their children to women who weaponized lies like birth certificates. You know the stats. Over 80% of custody cases go to mothers regardless of fitness, while fathers are treated like debtors. You know 58% of men are now disengaged from society, no job, no sex, no future. You know that in the UK, men are arrested for abusive online comments at 87% of cases, even when they're factually correct. You know that 1 in 4 children born today are conceived via sperm stolen from the trash or through IVF using donor sperm because the woman didn't tell the man. You know the real cuckoldry rate isn't 3%, it's closer to 10 to 15%, confirmed by genetic testing, but no one talks about it because truth is the first casualty of genocentrism. I've watched smart men, engineers, philosophers, fathers go quiet, hollowed out by betrayal, by false accusations, by the IRS taking their paychecks before they see them, by colleges expelling them for disagreeing with a TA, by hospitals letting women walk out with someone else's baby because maternal instinct trumps DNA. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed to transfer power from men to institutions that serve female interests and leftist control. Feminism isn't a movement, it's a protection racket, and you're not the customer, you're the mark. So here's your redemption. You now see the tests. The can you lift this isn't about the box, it's about whether you grunt, complain, or smirk. The I don't know what to order isn't about the menu. It's about whether you dominate the moment or beg for approval. The I feel unsafe walking home isn't about safety, it's a loyalty probe. And every time you pass, she doesn't love you more. She just raises the stakes. You're not dating a woman, you're negotiating with a behavioral algorithm trained by evolution and amplified by culture, but now you see it. And seeing is freedom. You don't need her validation, you don't need her bed, you need your mind back. You need to stop being the emotional landfill for her unresolved trauma. You need to speak in clear sentences, not apologies. You need to master grammar so you don't get trapped in guilt, logic so you don't get gaslit, rhetoric so you don't get silenced. The trivium isn't schoolwork, it's self-defense. The transcendentals aren't poetry, they're anchors, good, true, beautiful, not your truth, not lived experience truth. The kind that outlasts trends, tears, and Twitter mobs. You were born into a war disguised as peace. You were told love meant surrender. You were told strength was toxic. You were told silence was maturity. They lied. Real love doesn't test you to break you. Real strength protects. Real peace comes from order, not appeasement. You are not the problem, you are the cure, if you wake up. So wake up, speak clearly, stand tall, walk away from the games, build something real, teach boys the truth. And when the next woman asks you to carry her bag, do it or don't, but know why she asked. And know that you, not her, decide what kind of man you are. And now, the sponsored book introduction, Feminist Collective, Longhouse Assimilation of All Cultures. Look around your garage or workshop. Notice anything missing. That space where you built things, fixed engines, solved problems with your hands, it's being invaded. I've seen it firsthand. Feminist groups brand these male sanctuaries as exclusionary while demanding we fund their vision of society. They call masculinity toxic, but shame men who show any vulnerability. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I wrote this book because I watched rational order collapse under the weight of gender equality myths, leaving good men confused, disrespected, and stripped of purpose. Enough is enough. This book exposes the Borg-like tactics detailed in chapters like the feminist Borg invasion and the matriarchal Longhouse blueprint. They aren't seeking fairness. They aim for total assimilation of male spaces under rigid feminist control. We dissect the toxicity trap, that impossible double bind where strength is condemned as aggression, yet weakness invites contempt. We rip apart woke pathogens infecting our culture with Marxist and queer theory lies, using hard facts from evolutionary biology and psychology. Men are natural leaders. Women bear children. Pretending otherwise is a dangerous fantasy that destroys families, fuels the fatherhood famine, and creates the emasculation economy where men are sidelined. Chapters like Workshop Wars, Frontline Reports, and the Beta Male Betrayal give you the raw truth about how male domains are targeted and undermined from within. Reproductive reality check and strength scapegoating dismantle the false narratives shaming male biology and drive. We reveal the chivalry con, the indoctrination in schools, education indoctrination camps, and the media mind control pushing this agenda. From the sex strike scam to body betrayal in healthcare, the criminalization pipeline, and even demographic warfare through the Great Replacement, the assault is relentless. Digital castration purges male voices online. This book is your red pill arsenal. It's for rational men who see the chaos and want truth, not comforting lies. If you're tired of feeling trapped, disempowered, and disrespected, this is your lifeline. I provide actionable strategies from reclamation, building the new bastion to help you fight back, rebuild genuine male spaces, and reclaim the leadership role biology demands. Stop funding your own demise. Arm yourself with knowledge and rebuild. If you still believe the fairy tale of interchangeable genders, if you think male workshops need feminist oversight, or if terms like toxic masculinity make you nod in agreement, put this book down right now. Go knit a sweater, binge watch reality TV, or find a safe space. This truth isn't for you. You wouldn't understand it and you'll only get offended. Save yourself the frustration. This book is for men ready to face reality and reclaim what's theirs. Buy it, read it, act. Your birthright depends on it. Feminist Collective. Longhouse Assimilation of All Cultures, written by Conrad Riker. Buy now. Links in description.